Everyone, we are the group 2 and we're going to discuss water pollution. But before that, we will be presenting a quote that talks about the importance of water. And this quote says that thousands have lived without love, not one without water. This quote came from the British poet W.H. Auden. Water pollution occurs when harmful substances, often chemicals or organisms, contaminate a stream, river, lake, ocean, aquifer, or other body of water, degrading water quality and rendering it toxic to humans or the environment. So, we considered a water as polluted one if it is contaminated with toxic waste or oil spills came from the factories. Because of the contamination, there is a big possibility that our water resources, such as fishes, corals, and mammals, may die. So we must take good care of our water surface and even our groundwater because it gives us life. Let's proceed to the categories of water pollution. First category is the groundwater. Groundwater gets polluted when contaminants from pesticides and fertilizers to waste leached from landfills and septic systems make their way into an aquifer, rendering it unsafe for human use. So, di ba, we all know that some of our ancestors and neighbors are still using well or balloon until now, especially yung sa mga bukid na area, wherein dito sila kumukuha ng tubig na iniinom nila at ginagamit sa pang-araw-araw na buhay. So, when it became polluted, hindi na ito safe, lalo na when it is contaminated with fertilizers and pesticides na galing sa mga sakahan dahil posible silang mamatay. Next category is the surface water. Surface water is what fills our oceans, lakes, rivers, and all those other blue bits in the world map. Surface water from fresh water sources, that is, from sources other than the ocean. So, we must take good care of our surface water dahil isa ito sa pinagkukunan ng hanap buhay ng mga taong malapit dito. Sila ay ang mga mangingisda. Dapat wasan natin magtapon ng basura upang hindi masira ang tirahan ng mga isda at iba pang yamang tubig which gives us food and nutrients, especially protein. So, dapat alagaan natin kung ano ang meron tayo. Dahil alam naman natin na ang tubig ay importante. Hindi lang sa ating mga tao, kundi pati na din sa mga hayop. So, we must take good care and conserve water.
The most common types of water contamination. We have 4. First is the agricultural. Agriculture is the leading cause of water degradation. Agricultural pollution is the top source of contamination in rivers and streams. The second biggest source in wetlands, and the third main source in lakes. It's also a major contributor of contamination to estuaries and groundwater. Second, sewage and wastewater. Used water is wastewater. It comes from our sinks, showers, and toilets, and from commercial, industrial, and agricultural activities. Third is the oil pollution. Big spills may dominate headlines, but consumers account for the vast majority of oil pollution in our seas. And for the last, the radioactive substances. Radioactive waste is any pollution that emits radiation beyond what is naturally released by the environment. The common types of water contamination. We have 4. These are agricultural, sewage and wastewater, oil pollution, radioactive substances. First is the agricultural. We all know that agriculture is commonly based on the farmers or farmers. So agriculture plays a major role in water pollution around the world. So best example of this are those farmers. Every day or twice a week, the farmers release large quantities of organic matter, agrochemicals, including fertilizers. So we all know that these chemicals or toxins can basically harm the fish and other animals. Yes. So next is the sewage and wastewater. This refers to an activities that is being used, especially in our home. So sewage and wastewater may carry a range of chemicals and salts and may result a lot of problems like diseases and illness like diarrhea. Next is the oil pollution. This pollution refers to an oil spills. So according to my research, each year 706 million gallons of waste oil enters the ocean. As the oils is not able to dissolve in water, yeah, we all know naman 'di ba na kapag ang oil is mapunta sa tubig is 'di ba, it may result a lot of problems. So it can harm fish, affects the marine birds, and blocks the light to aquatics plants. And for the last, the radioactive substances. So this refers to the radioactivity, especially those environment in which exposed to this. So a lot of problems uh, may cause for this environment, such as serious issues in cancer, leukemia, and genetic mutations. If radioactive waste is not disposed of properly, contaminants can spread to groundwater and surface water.
Okay, so we'll proceed now. So what are the effects of the water pollution? So what are the effects of water pollution? So we have here the two main affected domains. So first we have the human health. And the second one is the environment. So first, we'll be tackling about the effect of water pollution on human health. So as you can see, we have here our first sentence. Contaminated water can also make you ill. So this is self-explanatory na hindi na siya kailangang i-explain pa. It's because it is very obvious that kapag unsafe yung water, syempre magkakasakit ka at magkakaroon ka ng iba't ibang diseases and illness. So, waterborne pathogens in the form of disease causing bacteria and viruses from human and animal waste are a major cause of illness from contaminated drinking water. Diseases spread by unsafe water include cholera, giardia, and typhoid. So, when we say waterborne pathogens, so those are the pathogenic microbes like viruses and bacteria. So, for the information of everybody, we have the good bacteria na nakakatulong sa katawan ng tao, and also we have here the bad bacteria in which magdadala sa'yo ng sakit talaga at hindi siya healthy para sa tao. So, the common illness na a human can intake sa contaminated water are cholera, giardia, and typhoid. So when we say cholera, so those three, yung common kasi nila is diarrhea or the water diarrhea. Siyempre magtatai-tai ka. And somehow makikita ko yun or nai-experience ko yan. It's because hindi lang naman tayo sa bahay umiinom ng tubig. So there are some instances na umiinom ka ng tubig sa ibang lugar and you don't know kung safe or unsafe ba yung water. And cholera, this may cause a rapid heart rate, tataas yung heart rate mo. And sa giardia naman, sa aking na-research, so it may cause dehydration. So, this is self-explanatory na yung giardia magkakaroon ng dehydration and the stomach cramps. And aside from that, sa cholera, magkakaroon tayo ng muscle cramps. So, as you can see, kapag nagsuswimming ka, there is a big probability na magkakaroon ka talaga ng water cramps. Aside from palak-palak ay ka mulangoy, it's because hindi ka marunong lumangoy. Syempre, there is a big probability na magka-cramps gyud ka, it's because of water. And aside from that, kay tungod pod hugaw ang tubig. Okay? And the last one is the typhoid. So this is very common sa mga unsafe water areas. Yung typhoid is magkakaroon ka ng mataas na lagnat, syempre diarrhea, water diarrhea, and also vomiting or pagsusuka. Toxins can cause a host of health issues, from cancer to hormone disruption to altered brain function in children and pregnant women are particularly at risk. Okay? So, yung unsafe water or contaminated water, syempre, yung affected people talaga or yung pinaka naaapektuhan doon, although lahat tayo naaapektuhan or maaaring apektuhan, but yung children at saka yung mga buntis are particularly at risk. So sila talaga yung nasa peligro kapag nai-intake nila yung contaminated or unsafe water. So when we say toxins, those are the arsenic and mercury to pesticides and nitrate fertilizers. So those are the bad elements na nandoon sa contaminated or sa unsafe water. So aside from the following illness na sinabi ko kanina, meron din tayong iba't ibang health issues na magiging resulta ng pagkokontamina ng tubig. So those are cancers. So, yung alam ko na cancer na dahil sa unsafe water is the skin cancer. So, aside from the sun, yung maaaring yung magiging rason ng cancer. So, meron din tayo sa tubig. So, yung tubig may cause skin cancer. That may leads to hormone disruption. So, hormone disruption, those are the endocrine disruptions na masyadong malalagay sa peligro yung tao and it may lead to altered brain function. Okay. So, yun yung magiging effect ng water pollution sa human health. So, we will proceed now sa environment. So, ano nga ba yung magiging epekto ng water pollution sa environment? So, water pollution causes an algal bloom in a lake or marine environment. That are the endocrine disruptions na masyadong malalagay sa peligro yung tao and it may lead to altered brain function. Okay. So, yun yung magiging effect ng water pollution sa human health. So, we will proceed now sa environment. So, ano nga ba yung magiging epekto ng water pollution sa environment? So, water pollution causes an algal bloom in a lake or marine environment. The proliferation of newly introduced nutrients stimulates plant and algae growth, which in turn reduces oxygen levels in the water. So, when we say algal bloom, makikita niyo yung sa mga submarine or sa lake parts or sa mga tubig na merong mga lumot. So, that is what we call algae. Kapag marami na yan, kapag masyadong unsafe yung tubig, or kapag masyado talagang contaminated yung tubig, so meron tayong algal bloom or yung pagdami ng algae. So, yung algae is very unsafe sa submarines na species, okay? So, ano nga ba yung magiging epekto ng algal bloom or ng algae growth? So, it may cause eutrophication or what we call dearth of oxygen, or in short, or sa mas understandable na term, the scarcity of oxygen. So ano nga ba yung magiging resulta ng scarcity of oxygen? Siyempre, masusuffocate yung plants, not only the plants but also the animals. So magkakaroon tayo ng dead zones or the what we called masyado ng dry yung lahat, masyado ng marami nang namamatay. Aside from the submarine, syempre, yung iba ding mga parts ay sa land areas ng environment. And waters are essentially devoid of life. Yes, very true talaga na waters are essentially devoid of life. And hindi tayo mabubuhay kapag walang tubig. Okay? So those harmful algal blooms can also produce neurotoxins that affect wildlife from whales to sea turtles. So the neurotoxins are the exogenous chemicals that affect the wildlife, especially sa submarines areas. Kasi yung maapektuhan talaga dito is every part of the submarines, fishes, whales, turtles, and other submarine species maapektuhan talaga. So yun yung epekto ng water pollution or ng unsafe water pollution. So always remember that we have the two main affected domains. We have the human health and the environment.
What can you do to prevent water pollution? There are some simple ways you can prevent water contamination or at least limit your contribution to it. Reduce your plastic consumptions and reuse or recycle plastic when you can. Sa dito is makakatulong tayo kung to prevent water pollution is to recycle the plastics, especially yung ginagamit natin ng mga bottles, mga plastic bottles or mga cans is kailangan natin itong gamitin or gawin natin, pwede naman natin gawing lalagyan ng mga bulaklak. Properly dispose of chemical, cleaners, oil, and non-biodegradable items to keep them from ending down to drain. Dito naman sa proper dispose of chemical cleaners is kailangan natin itatapon sa tamang lalagyan yung mga basura natin, especially yung mga chemical cleaners kasi ito nagiging sanhi ng kung bakit nagkaroon ng contamination ng ating mga waters and also ang non-biodegradable items nang dahil dito ang ating mga waters, mga rivers is madumi. Maintain your car so doesn't leak oil, antifreeze, or coolant. Sa pamagitan nito is makatulong din tayo to prevent water pollution na yung mga ginamit na natin ng mga oil sa ating mga sasakyan is kailangan natin ilagay sa tamang lalagyan or hindi natin itatapon kung saan, especially na our rivers. If you have a yard, consider landscaping that reduce runoff and avoid applying pesticides or herbicides. Sa pagitan nito, makatulong din tayo sa pag-prevent ng water pollution at hindi natin paglagay ng mga pesticides sa mga plants or landscaping. And if you have a pup, be sure to pick up its poop. Dito man, if meron kayong mga aso or anong klaseng hayop is kailangan natin itatapon yung mga dumi nila sa tamang lagayan at hindi natin itatapon kung saan especially sa mga rivers kasi nagiging itong isang sanhi kung bakit ang ating water na-contaminate. With your voice, one of the most effective ways to stand up for our water is to speak out in support. With your voice, some of the most effective ways to stand up for our water is to speak out in support of the Clean Water Rule, which clarifies the Clean Water Act scope and protects the drinking water. Para magiging effective tong pag-prevent tong ating water pollution is kailangan natin sundin kung kung paano ba protektahan ang mga waters or mga rivers, not din dahil sa ating sarili kundi sa ating lahat para meron tayong maiinom na safety na water. According to Miss Earth 2017 Karen Ibasco, I believe that the real problem in this world is not a climate change. The real problem is us because of our ignorance and apathy. What we have to do is to start changing our way, to start recalibrating our minds and redirecting our steps, because together as a global community, our micro efforts will have a micro effect to help save our home, our planet.